I'm Jerusha Sukhia Rath and you're watching News 24 Live. Now, we know that you're not really supposed to speak about sex, religion or politics in polite conversation, but it's a rule that absolutely no South African ever adheres to. So to talk about those three topics exactly, I'm joined in studio by opinion makers Lenive Hansen and Nokolo Mafu, and we're going to speak about topics relating to sex, religion and politics. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Nice to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Now, last week in South Africa was an absolutely insane week. How are you experiencing it, Lenive?
It was crazy. I mean, like stuff like the Sona, what happened there, and yeah, that's all been in the newspapers. It's pretty interesting to see what people's opinions was on what happened in Parliament with the EFF and the TA walking out. But I think it's, what I've heard in conversations is people kind of making what happened there like an African thing, which isn't the case. You can YouTube any parliamentary debate like in Ukraine or something. It's
exactly
every week occurrence.
People are going nuts. But we're going to get to the politics section in a few minutes. I want to kick us off with sex, because despite the fact that the country was going completely crazy last week, the country went mad again on Saturday when 50 Shades of Grey opened in cinemas. It is the biggest movie release in South Africa ever.
I don't know. I think it's curiosity. I think people are genuinely curious to see if the books are going to like become a reality. I really find it so strange that it's done so well.
Were you surprised, Lenive?
No, I wasn't surprised. I mean, when the books came out, it was all over social media. Every girl was talking about it. Not even just the girls, old ladies. You know, it was all that. So now the movie came out, so it was to be expected there would be such hype around it, yeah. But I don't see why not. I mean, we're living in a liberal country. You should be able to speak about sex, and it's not like it was pornography or anything like that.
Right. Now, we were chatting about it this morning at our news desk, and we were saying the only thing that's potentially awkward about it is having to watch it in a cinema that is absolutely packed.
Exactly. This is what I'm really worried about. Like that if you do watch it and someone gets excitable, what do you do? How do you limit those interactions? I think it could be quite strange. Like, I mean, it's not something I would watch with my mom, for instance.
No, never.
A friend of mine went to go watch it with his girlfriend, and his only complaint was all the giggling in the cinema. You know, so I don't know. I haven't watched it myself. I didn't go and see it at the cinema, but I'll probably catch it on DVD or something. Check it out then.
Now, one of our colleagues went to watch it, and him and his wife walked out of the studio because they said it was boring. The dialogue is just really pathetic.
It's weird because I also heard a lot of responses that people actually thought it was quite boring and people want their money back. But I think the reason why it did so well is because people actually pitched to like see if it's going to be as sexual as it like suggested. But then when they got there, it really wasn't all that. And I think you'd rather read the books and leave it to your imagination than actually watch it come to life on screen.
That's a fair point. I suppose when it's in your head, it can be anything you want it to be. But now you see these people acting it out. Lenive, do you think that it's an indication of South African society, really? Perhaps we're quite forward-thinking and quite liberal. Is it a reflection on us?
Yes, we are forward-thinking and liberal, but I think that people still have that reservations and stuff. You know, like a lot of our parents are still kind of old school, and we still have those things embedded in us. So that's why it's such hype when something like that comes out so liberal. People are like scared to kind of like, I don't know how to put it, they're not used to it, I guess. So that's what the hype's about. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I mean, we should all explore what our, I can't get the word.
I agree though. I think we're at a point now where we just need to engage with that kind of part of ourselves, even if our parents would be
and explore it more, you know, so yeah.
Is sex something that we just don't talk about enough as South Africans, Noxie?
I don't think we don't talk about it. I think more and more, actually, especially like a younger generation, is engaging a lot more about sex, but it's something that we don't see and it's shunned upon. So like, even when you do see it on an episode of Generations, it's a bit of a squirm because I don't think South African culture and even our cinematography has reached a point where like we're able to watch sex. It's more of an international thing that's come to us. So it's not that we're not talking about it, I think. We're very forward-thinking in that sense, but we're not seeing it often enough. So I think 50 Shades is exciting because it's on screen and it's dirty and, you know.
What do you say to the people who argue that this is just, it's completely unnecessary, it's immoral in a way, we just don't need to see other people getting it on?
No, like, that's, like I said before, it's people like the backwards thinking, people that don't want to see things, they take it in the wrong way. Like there's different kind of perspectives you can take on the movie. People still consider it to be taboo, you can't talk about sex. Growing up, my parents never spoke to me about sex or how to go about it the first time or anything. So when you see like, not even like sex, just like suggestions of sex on TV and you sitting there with your parents, it makes you feel completely uncomfortable. So I think that is what's still the issue. It's not so much that we are a loose culture or anything like that. It's just people just aren't used to seeing it and now they're blowing it up into something that it's really not.
And I guess the idea is that you have the choice. I mean, personally, I don't want to watch other people having sex, so I won't.
Yeah.
It's just, nobody's forcing me to watch 50 Shades of Grey.
True.
But if you want to watch it, go watch it.
Yeah, I think it's exciting that there is that option and to not be judged and that you can go to the cinema and enjoy it with your person or walk out depending on what you enjoy.
I think we're all free-thinking human beings with opinions of our own, so we can make up our own minds. I don't need somebody else that doesn't want to think about it prevent me from exploring my own sexual desires or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about it being the biggest movie release in South Africa ever. I'm kind of surprised by that. I mean, more South Africans watched this film this weekend than any other film that's opened. I mean, we're talking Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. This is surprising.
But I think it goes back to the thing I was talking about like it's such a spectacle for us. I don't think we're used to seeing stuff like that. And there was a big hype and Valentine's Day to kind of, I think, get your way into the rest of the evening. A lot of people set it up. I mean, I was on Twitter and people were hashtagging 50 Shades. And I really was surprised. It was women, it was men who wanted to kind of get to satisfy their girlfriend, be the good boyfriend and go with them. And girls who were just like, I want to go with my girls or I want to go with my man, and you're going to have to go. If you want to make Valentine's special for her, you had to do it.
You were going to do what she wants.
Yeah.
Like you were mentioning, like you had Star Wars and all those are more guy movies, So guys will go and see that out of their own. Females won't normally go see that. But now with this movie, guys are going with their girls. So it's like double the audience that was going through to it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Noxie, there's really a lot to be said about a sexual movie, a movie about sex that is really focused to women. I mean, the books, firstly, written by E.L. James, was referred to as, women porn, even though it wasn't really porn. But the idea that this is a movie about sex for girls.
I think that's new. I think we don't have, especially something that can be read in public. A lot of people were reading 50 Shades in the train or anything. So I think it's really new for women to be able to discover that side of themselves and to openly do it and to engage with other people, and other women are doing it. So I think it was a new thing for 50 Shades, but I think the hype quickly went a little bit too far, and a lot of people still say that it's boring for the hype that it got. But it was new and it was something that we weren't doing. So I think hats off to the author. Like, she really has got a good following, and people might not agree on the casting because of that imagination and what you'd made it for yourself. But it's exciting that there is that kind of dialogue, and yay to feminism, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. But I have to say, before we move on to the next point, that I think a lot of the criticism about the characters is quite real. That Anastasia Steele is just this kind of, this girl who doesn't have any real qualities of her own, and is in a way almost taken advantage of by rich man. So I suppose it's really great that there's film about sex for women, but I think the next film about sex for women, it would be encouraging to see like really strong women lead.
And agency in that kind of sexual
Absolutely.
thing. I completely agree, There's a lot of like roles of like domination that like kind of take over the whole story, which I don't personally agree with too. Like, the hints of it are great, but not that it's the overriding theme of the story, I think.
Yeah.